in, sir, come in. We don't stand on ceremony here. Is she with you, sir? She with you? Dropped her right bollock there, haven't you? Here, down the full table here. Come on, you're all right. It's only our bit of fun. She's better than the old bag you brought in last Thursday night.
Couldn't believe that you'd include Bernard in a programme called Heroes. Because for me, he's the villain of comedy.
Good couple talking. She says, why don't you go and see the doctor about our sex life? She says, you ain't half as good as you used to be. He says, I'll go and see the doctor. I'll go and see him. Go back a couple of hours later, Stetson hat, rolled umbrella, pinstripe trousers, fancy waistcoat, gold guard, spats. She, what do you dress like that for, man? He says, I's been to see the doctor. And the doctor says I's impotent. And in future, I's gonna look impotent.
He's got this reputation for being highly vulgar and highly risque, but it's in the great tradition of music hall. People are too sensitive nowadays, too politically correct. They don't appreciate Bernard. He is the funniest man in the business.
That politician, when they found him with a bag over his head and a fucking orange in his mouth and ladies' knickers and stockings on, he had a Manchester City kit on as well. Well, the police kept that quiet to save his family any further embarrassment.
I tell you this, he can still fill a club in the north of England, and you can ban women if you like, although half of them want to buy tickets.
I think he's got a lovely face. I always want to go, I wonder what he'd say if I did. Oh, my God.
Two old maids on the beach, a streaker went past, one had a stroke, the other couldn't reach.
I can remember very well sitting next to Bernard Manning and knowing that he could control the audience. He's very skilled. And I became the laughing stock. I became the nanny figure, the Puritan.
She sat there like a trainee corpse. I don't know.
He was using the audience against me.
You like the blue gear, what? Do you like the blue gear? Wash me lips. Do you like the blue gear? Are you working there with your foot? I was 41, and I thought everything had passed me by. I was earning a good living. I wasn't short of nothing. I was earning a very good living, getting good money at different places. But I thought fame had passed me by. I wasn't a household name until Johnny Amp came along and put me on the comedians.
He really was, I suppose, Mr. Manchester in those days. I moved up to Manchester in the early 60s and I was astounded by the nightlife that there was in Manchester. It must have been the swinging city anywhere. I think there are over 460 clubs of different types, and that's where the comics learned their trade. And really, I suppose, were the alternative comedians of the day.
The fellow went to the doctor. He says, well, I've examined you. He said, I can't find nothing wrong with you. He says, you must have Alice. He said, what's that? He said, I don't know, but Christopher Robin went down with it.
Everybody said you can't use Bernard. I mean, those days you couldn't do a blue gag on television.
If a producer tells me, Bernard, I don't want this and I don't want that, I don't want that, just tell a dozen really good, clean, clever stories. That's what I want. So I can write to orders. I've worked in front of nuns.
My daughter had brought her teacher, who was a nun, and the Mother Superior to see the comedians, and Bernard was comparing the show. And I'm sure I lost 3 stone inside 10 minutes when I heard that Bernard... And I went down and said, Bernard, Majella has brought the teacher, the nun, the Mother Superior. Don't worry. I will be the nicest man on God's earth. Don't worry. She's none to fear. And for half an hour, he was resplendent in his comedy. So clean, puerile, down to earth, lovable. But just for that one night. And then suddenly says, there you are, Frank. Haven't said bollocks once.
Frank Carson, I've always enjoyed his joke, Frank Carson.
All the comics would have cue cards, just a card with one word, clues to the gags that they were going to do.
But by the time I went on, Bernard had done all mine. he must have nicked my idiot board and did every gag on my idiot board. Not to my knowledge. I goes on and I'm just stood there. I had to ad lib, I didn't know what I was doing.
Lovely to see you, George. The wife and your son. You think?
I did actually say to him, it's been a pleasure to know you and a pleasure to work with you. I've always admired you since you used to be on the Phil Silver show when you were called Doberman. He just looks like him, doesn't he?
And Dougie Brown. Unbelievable. Get a drink out of him, you can plat sawdust all right.
We all blended together and we just did what we did, and he edited it as though we was all bouncing lines off one another. And we all just did our show, and he took what he wanted and left what he didn't.
Fella selling seagulls on Blackpool front, £0.50 each. A bloke went up, he said, I'll have a seagull. He says, take that one there.
And we went to the London Palladium.
He said, I'd only do it for 6 weeks. And that astounded me because the run was like 5 months. And I said, why is that? He said, can't disappoint my fans up in Manchester, he said, because, you know, he ran his own club.
Clinging to your roots is extremely important to anybody in life. I despair of people who reach the top and forgot where they came from. Bernard Manning is not that sort of individual.
When Bernard was born, the story is that he was so ugly. It was terrible that the midwife had to have gas. And his mother wouldn't breastfeed him. She said, I wanted him just as a friend.
My mum and my father were greengrocers in the very young days of my life. Up in the morning early and no lorry, just handcart to push the stuff from Smithfield Market to the shop. Flag floors, one cold water tap, no hot water, no bathroom. We used to go to the swimming baths if you wanted a bath.
I had a pair of shoes in 1933. I could put my foot on the penny. The soles were that thin. I could tell you it was heads or tails.
Catholic family. My father was a dead stickler for going to church and everybody being straight and tidy and saying your prayers at night. I was an altar boy, up at 7 o'clock to serve Mass.
As the Pope once said to Michelangelo, you better come down, I think we'll have it wallpapered.
My mum and dad had a wonderful sense of humour. You had to have in them days to keep going. You had to have it. It was jokes in Smithfield Market that set me off. When I started off in Smithfield Market with my dad, about 12 or 13 years of age, all the porters used to tell gags. Funny people. You had to be. To do such hard work and get on together.
An American tourist on the bus passing Manchester Town Hall. He said, say, buddy, little Lancashire lad at the side, what's that there? He said, that. That's our town hall, he said. It's our clock. He said, we've got prefabs bigger than that in America. He said, oh, aye. Just then, a fire engine went past. 90 mile an hour, turntable ladders, all bells ringing. He said, what was that, buddy? He said, a window cleaner late for work.
I started work when I was 14 at Senior Service Tobacco Factory, Derby Street in Manchester. There was 5,000 girls worked there and about 10 fellas because it was all in the war. That was 1944. So you can tell I had a beano there. The girls thought the world of me. And then I was with the Manchester Regiment in Berlin. Started singing with the dance orchestra there. Went all over Germany, Dusseldorf, Cologne, entertaining the troops.
This is the Army Medical. 16 blokes, starkers, not a stitch on, waiting for the medical officer. See, they're all stood there, windows wide open. Silent comedy, not a word spoken here.
came out of the army, we got me an audition with Oscar Rabin for the Lyceum Ballroom on the Strand. Sang with the band. After about 12 months, my contract was up. The club scene had just started in Manchester, the Northern Sporting Club. And I compared it and started slinging a few gags in and a few quips in. Stayed there for a couple of years. Then these premises came open just up the road from the Northern Sporting Club. It was an old temperance billiard hall and a furniture shop, and we opened up as the Embassy Club. I talked my dad into opening it up. I said, what I can do for other people, Dad, I might as well do for myself and you. And our advert was, where you see the stars of tomorrow, today, a family club run by a family.
Even if Bernard wasn't there, Bernard was out doing a charity and he'd come back a little bit later, it still felt like a family club, that everybody was looking after you.
And we had the Beatles there for 14 quid. We had Mike Yarwood there for a £5. He'll tell you, Mike, he's still alive. I can't be telling no lies on this programme. He'll tell you, a £5. Matt Munro was 30 quid. Vince Hill was £60 for the week. Jimmy Talbot got a £5. And he was overpaid.
Well, no, there was said somebody broke into the club one night, and when Bernard came in the next morning, he thought he was in the wrong place. They'd cleaned it up.
I used to be up at 7 o'clock every morning. I'd let the cleaners in at the club. I'd set the room out with a pal of mine, the chairs and the tables and the reserved tables and the list off the book, who's sitting where. The things that must be done, you see.
Have to get here a bit earlier than this, you know. We've got a lot to do.
Always make sure your microphones are working a couple of hours before. Always have your phone lines open in case the pianist rings up and says he's got chicken pox or whatever. You've got to be ready for all emergencies. I've learnt all these things in my years in Clubland. And then, 8 o'clock, you could set your watch. Anybody for 40 years could say, at 8 o'clock, Bernard Manning's walking on stage now at the Embassy Club.
There's two young men with us tonight that fought at Goose Green in the Falkland Islands. Thank you very much. Over here on this front table. Celebrating with us tonight. They're Argentinians.
And at 9:10, somebody's driving them down to Plymouth. And that would be Bernard Manning, you know, and like myself, a workaholic, you know. I always say he was I'm a workaholic, because every time I get a job, I get drunk.
I've seen him do 5 performances in a day, and he's never ever refused work. He's worked on oil rigs, he's worked Las Vegas, he's worked at the smallest social club, a little pub, and he'd never ever refused work.
I was in Doncaster last night. I'm in Wakefield tomorrow night. I've got to go to dentist tomorrow morning. When I leave the show, I'm in the dentist chair at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That bridge there, it's coming loose. So I've got to be there.
Don't you hate it?
Terrible.
Yeah.
I get hold of him by the goolers and say, we're not going to hurt each other, are we?
God knows how I got the stamina. I think it's from my mother, because she was a real stamina person. 95, and she was still doing the books for the Embassy Club. She could reckon a column up at 95 years of age. She could reckon up that and reckon the same column up, go 2 columns. Like that. And her handwriting, she left school at 11 years of age, and her handwriting was absolutely magnificent. It flowed, it was beautiful. Beautiful handwriting. Yeah, she was some mother, I'll tell you.
She's his double, really, because he gets it all from her. She was aggressive and cutting, and she could come out with the most amazing comments sometimes. And when she died, I think he took that badly, because she was a big part in his life, because they lived together. She still cooked his meals and, you know, did everything for him, really.
She was 95, you know, my mum, when she died. She was marvellous. I used to carry her down the stairs to make me breakfast. There's not many fellas that do that, is it, son?
His mother used to be on the cash desk, you know, at the club. And he said, Mother, if ever the club get raided, faint on the cash till.
He gave me a piece of advice when I first joined Coronation Street. And I'm walking up the corridor and this voice said, "Now then, Tommy." So I said, "Bernard, how are you?" I'm all right. He said, and he said, "You seem to be doing well. You're doing well, lad. You're doing well. Little bit of advice for you. Pay your taxes. Pay your taxes, son." And I said, "See you, Bernard." And he's quite right. You pay your taxes. Make sure you pay your taxes.
Unbelievable. We had the social security here the other week. I looked over there, there's only 2 behind the fucking bar.
Part of Bernard's humour is potentially quite self-destructive. He will make jokes about the beer in his own club. Now, I wouldn't want to get into this, but the beer in his own club isn't, frankly, of the strongest. And he will make jokes about it being watered down. There was once a fire at the club, and he makes jokes about, all the terrible things that went in this fire as far as the insurance people were concerned.
Lost a solid gold Omega watch, £6,000 worth of.
Did you?
Rummaging all night with the firemen. They said, I don't think we're going to find this watch, Bernard. I thought, I'm bleeding sure you're not.
I'm sure it's all above board. He's not a financial criminal of any sort, but he likes to give the impression he is.
It was a lovely fire. It was a lovely fire.
It's a great
I'll tell you how
fire.
to start a good fire. Get a lively rat.
Yes.
And dip a rag in a cloth in petrol and tie it to its tail. Light it and shove it through the door. And you've got about 16 fires going in about 2 minutes. The rat gets cremated and you don't know how it started. Now, the Irish club lower down than me, they tried it with a toy choice and... they can't stop us laughing. I once got sacked for laughing. Man, you're driving a fucking hearse at the time. I've never got on a stage and died in my life. I've never come off to the sound of my own footsteps. Now, there's not many comics can say that.
I went to Bernard and said, look, we can get you on at the MGM Las Vegas, but we're going to shoot it, and however you go, whether you die, or whether you're wonderful or whatever you are, we're going to show it.
This is it. Direct from Las Vegas, Nevada, the MGM Grand Hotel proudly presents Direct from the Embassy Club, Harbour A, Manchester, England, Mr. Bernard Manning. Here we go.
He could have died a death, of course, but as it happened, he went very well.
The American comedy's got to be slick. And so Enoch Powell became Governor Wallace over there, who was the bigot.
George Wallace died, knocked on the gates of heaven, and the voice said, "Who that?" Oh, I said, forget it.
I told him he should never have impeached President Nixon.
Should have let Teddy Kennedy drive him home.
And they like the Jewish material over there.
My old school teacher was Jewish, what they call an unorthodox Jew. He was a Nazi.
Jewish humour is the funniest in the world. They've always bounced lines off each other. And that's the way to go through life. Otherwise, it's going to be a terrible, miserable life.
4 Jews playing dominoes, frightened to knock in case the waiter came over.
Whenever you announce me, there's my friend, Benny Sternberg, the most hated Jew in England. And that wasn't bad. And then about a month later, he promoted me.
Benny Sternberg here, the most hated Jew in Europe.
Which I was quite happy about that, because that's lovely promotion.
He claims Jewish ancestry. I don't know whether he has Jewish ancestry. I don't know whether it's significant or not. I would not like to think that a person with any element of Jewish genes in his makeup should believe that he can make jokes which other people from other minorities find offensive.
My father's father was Jewish. He came from Sebastopol in Russia. And he died in the Strand Cafe in America of heart attack. And he had 2 brothers called Nathan and Maya. Nathan and Maya. So I know there's a bit of Jew. I've never heard of them, never seen them. The father and mother was very happily married, never discussed it, because I suppose of the Germans seeing Jews off during the war.
Obviously, if Bernard had been making these jokes in Nazi Germany, everybody would have been roaring with laughter. It would have been the stuff of comedy. Clearly it was. Forgive me saying so, I think Hitler would think Bernard Manning was a very funny man.
What about the Jewish suicide pilot? Crashed his plane in his brother's scrapyard.
Outside his door, he's got a sign which says Shalom. And for the people who don't know what it means, it's a Jewish expression which means peace.
Had the Nazis successfully invaded, I think there are quite a few comedians who appear on our screens who would have done the odd, Führer command performance and a few Gestapo socials. But I think Bernard would have been taken outside and shot on the first day.
2 Jews about to be shot by the Gestapo, way behind me. Stood there. Any last request before you're shot? He said, can we stand behind the wall? You cannot stand behind the wall. Stand still. Neighbour stepped forward. He said, "You dirty German bastard. Fuck you and Adolf Hitler." Ivy says, "Don't cause trouble."
Marvellous stuff. Dangerous. Dangerous as hell.
Unbelievable. The bells are ringing for me and my girl. The birds are singing for me and my girl. Everybody's been knowing.
I think the first time I met him was on Wheel Tappers and Shunters. And it was really funny, you know, because I'd stepped in to help out because one of the waitresses was ill. So I didn't know the routine, and what you had to do is you had to go around the audience with his tray drinks. And he used to stand on the corner, you know, introducing the artists. So once or twice I had to push past him, you know, and I bet he thought, what's up with her? Anyway, in the end I said, "Can you move?" And he said, "You're a rum bugger, you." And honest to God, we clicked from then on.
That was a great show, that. We got real beer. It was real beer. There was real flat caps, real people. Colin was marvellous on the bell. The old chairman, God rest his soul, old Colin, he was a very funny man.
There was a great chemistry between Colin Crompton and Bernard, and they both used to write their own lines. We tried writers, but no one could grasp what was required.
Bernard Delfont, the big impresario, was passing this building site. This Irish fella did 6 double somersaults, 4 backflips, a jackknife landed on his feet. He said, I'll boot you for Sunday night at the London Palladium. He said, "I'll boot you for Sunday night at the London Palladium." Just in case you cut into that one. He said, "I'll boot you for Sunday night at the London Palladium." The foreman said, "You'll have to take Big Baddy with him." He said, "Why?" Because he said he's the one that just hit him on the fingers with a sledgehammer. Yes, I knew this was coming. Will you learn your job?
My original synopsis explained that you had this ignorant chairman plus a compere, singer compere, who had appeared on Opportunity Knocks but hadn't won, and disliked every act, especially the other comedians that would appear on the show and would take the mickey out of them. And it struck me that Bernard was the obvious choice for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if there's ever a nuclear attack, it's all round to the next artist's house, because he's never had a hit for years.
Bernard would introduce me something like, "Now we've got a lad here called Bill Tarmy. He's not a bad singer. I suppose he could hear worse, but it takes some bloody finding," which was Bernard. And by the time he came on to start one song, you were in hysterics.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot of accidents with guitar players in clubs just lately. A few guitar players have been plugging in the wrong plugs and getting killed. Let's hope it happens tonight.
He's the master of insult on a scale that very few comedians can really get away with. There's nobody in his audience who's sacred.
Was it cold in the ground this morning? Say hello to Roy Orbison when you get back, tell him we're all thinking.
And they know you don't mean it. They know you're only saying it for a laugh. And that's the main thing. You must never take it serious.
And if you was my daughter, I'd still be fucking bathing you.
I think he gets more pleasure out of seeing people's faces turn and say, "I can't believe what he said there." and that is Bernard's technique. It is shock.
Enough grease on them trousers to make a pan of chips, you scruffy back.
You're always a bit wary about going to the Embassy Club. You sort of sneak in the back, because if Bernard's on stage and he actually sees you coming in, you know you're going to get a lot of ribbing. So you sort of do the leopard crawl under tables and chairs to try and get in the corner.
Is it Guy Fawkes? Who is it, that? Where did he stay at that?
If he saw you, you know, I mean, he looked as though he'd had eyes in the back of his head, you know, and he would see you and bang, he'd hit you with some gag, so keep your head down.
Everybody's got a right to be ugly, but you've used a bleeding privilege, you know that, don't you?
He makes no apologies for cruelty, but that reflects the type of background that he and his audience come from, which is a tough, hard, no favours given background, where you had to work hard and still do have to work hard to make any sort of a living. And Manning's humour reflects that toughness of the inner streets of Manchester.
Shut up, you fine bastard, get home. You don't swear in here, it's our bleeding club, not yours, you know.
You learn to tame hecklers, you've got to make them look foolish. Because they can't win. They cannot win. There's no way you can win against the microphone. He might be the funniest man in the world, but nobody can hear him, only 2 or 3 people that sat round him. You've got an audience of 1,000 people, there's 2 people heard what he said to you. Yet the 1,000 people have heard exactly what I've said to him.
What's he celebrating? No school in the morning, what was he? But them your first teeth, them, aren't they? You're fucking lost if you don't start laughing, I'm telling you. Fucking me, well.
When he's actually telling a gag, it's as though he's telling it to you personally. You know, like he's saying, here, listen to this one.
Woman walked into an ironmonger's shop, she said, will you give me a screw for an old back door? And he said, certainly, if you're good, I'll pay for your dinner as well.
When I speak to people, it's like being in my own home. I talk to them and I'm not like in a theatre.
This tramp knocked at this door. Fella come to the door, he says, what do you want? He said, have you got a piece of cake? He said, a piece of cake? He said, you're a cheeky, hard-faced gadget. He said, asking for cake. He said, yes, it's my birthday. He said, I'm an old soldier. He said, have you been to the front? He said, yes, but I couldn't get any answer.
A good gag, a hidden punchline. I've heard this story before, you're thinking to yourself, and then all of a sudden, you haven't heard it before. You see, and then there's topical things like, years ago, that murderer, what's his name? Fred West. The police got him in. They said, how many people have you killed? He said 7.
They said, we fucking dug 12 up. He said, I know, but I'm a builder. That's just a fucking estimate, that is.
He's a naughty, naughty boy. I was doing a great ball at one of the hotels in Manchester. I forget which it is now. And Bernard was doing the comedy spot. Duke of Westminster, rather far back, was the chief guest. So I'm on my feet, I'm doing the auction, we're raising this, that, and the other. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for comedy. I present to you, very proudly, Mr. Bernard Manning. So half the audience got up and walked out. Right away, as if on cue, they all got exit everyone, you see. So he stood up and he promised he's going to be clean. He says he's going to be clean. I'm sitting next to the Duke of Westminster. And he said, first of all, I said, I want to tell you about these 2 fucking nuns on the zebra crossing. You can't believe it. My wife saying, it's a white-knuckle ride with Bernard.
Scouts have got for a prostitute. She said, would you like a blowjob? He said, will it affect me dole money?
Manchester had that many clubs in the 70s. Theatre clubs with 10 comics on and 10 strippers. Entertaining 700 men a night. And stag nights and things. And there were bound to be blue stuff in there, you know what I mean? But no, if it's done tastefully, if it's done funny.
Not everybody enjoys a blue gag. Some people wouldn't. You know, my mother wouldn't. My mother didn't like blue stories. Oh, no. She was very deaf and she didn't hear half a set. But she didn't like blue stories. She was a real lady. She'd say, what did he say then? And one of the waiters would say, oh, it's nothing, Mr. Manning, it's all right.
I think she knew exactly what was going on, but she, as you say, she turned a deaf ear to it because she used to say to him, now, don't be too rude, will you?
There's 2 cows talking in the field. One said, what do you think about the mad cow disease? The other one said, it don't affect me, I'm a fucking duck.
I mean, I wince when he swears. Instead of saying there's this chap in the bar, he says there's this effing chap in this effing bar. And for me, it's unnecessary. Bernard will say that that's what people are used to now, and that's what they want.
That's what's used on the shop floor. When you tell a gag, you've got to tell it as the ordinary man in the street would talk, and even lawyers. You know, these lawyers and solicitors and dentists and judges. I've appeared at Oxford University, and I've appeared at Liverpool University, and you know they use the F word and the C word, and some of them it's like music when some of them say, you know, really posh. You know. Oh, fucking hell. All that, you know.
Little lad says to his dad, where do babies come from, Dad? He said, the stork. He said, who fucks the stork?
A gag like this would be no use without the F word. It would be no use without the F word. It's two Irish fellas going through the Vatican, and one said, I think that fella over there with the crooked stick and the mitre cap, I think that's the Pope. His mate said, I don't think it is. He says, I'm sure it is. He says, I'll go and ask him. And he went over, he says, are you the Pope? He says, fuck off. He went back, he said, what did he say? He said he wouldn't commit himself. So without that F word, that gag would be just a waste of time, and it wouldn't be a waste of time. It's no use saying bugger off, and it's no use saying take a walk, take a hike. It's got to be the Pope saying fuck off.
Swearing, drinking, anything like that, he was totally against in the house. And to this day, I can't recall really ever swearing in front of him, believe it or not.
Never swear at home, never swear in front of my grandchildren. They'll see all my videos when they get older, and I'm hoping they're broad-minded enough to realise that that's the era that I had to get my living in, and that's why I had to fill theatres and fill clubs and make my club a success for 40 years and make them live in a beautiful home with beautiful cars and want for nothing.
Wasn't that clean?
Well, I don't tell dirty gags. I don't tell sick gags, and I don't tell jokes about hemorrhoids or Tampax and stuff like that. I don't want to know about that. And, you know, I'll mention tits.
I've been in the room when he's been watching Joe Brand, who I think of as a kind of antimatter Bernard, and he can't believe it. His mouth is actually open. How does this ever get on the television? It's disgusting. So Bernard draws his own line in the sand, like most of us do. He has a moral code. It's just not the same as other people's.
A woman went to the vicar. She said, Vicar, I must tell you, she said, I lost my temper this morning. I called the man a fucking bastard this morning. He said, my God, there's no justification for that. She said, well, he put his hands on my breasts. He said, you mean like this? I've not forgot of her, son, eh? I've not forgot. She says, yes. He said, there's still no justification for that. She said, well, give me one. He said, you mean like this? And when he gets on the job and he's banging away there. She said, yes, and he's give me AIDS. He said, the fucking bastard.
As I say, if you don't like Bernard Manning, you just switch him off.
What time's he going out this fucking hell, eh? You'll have to put it on at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was in Bradford last week. I felt like a spot on a domino. They wait for it to snow in Yorkshire so they can count the population. Down 999 to get the Bengal Lancers in Bradford.
Now, you see, would you say that kind of humour is dangerous?
I think racist jokes are dangerous, yes. In my mind was very clearly the fact that humour makes prejudice acceptable, makes people comfortable with their worst feelings for each other. Racism becomes just another piece of entertainment. We laugh at them. They're subhuman. Let's laugh together.
You know and I know that every anti-Semite begins a sentence, some of my best friends are Jewish. So...
Oh, not all of my friends, just some of them. No, I like a few Jews, there's some Jews I don't like. Welcome to the Eichmann trial. I'm getting it tonight.
If you are an ethnic minority, you've got a certain vulnerability that other people don't have, and you can be wounded, and it can be felt. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like jokes or alleged jokes of this kind, because I don't believe that the best kind of humour is there to wound people or upset them or to mock them.
when you make a joke about black or coloured people to a white audience, suddenly the prejudice that they don't dare admit to is respectable. Suddenly they hear each other laughing, and it's comfortable.
No, the joke's
Well, you're breaking my heart here. What about should have had a violin playing there?
There is a point where it becomes the bully laughing at the fat child, the spotty child, the weak child, the vulnerable child.
Who takes more stick than me with being fat? You know, they really give me some stick.
So are you really, in a sense, trying to get back, do you think? Why are all your jokes based on hate? Why are you attacking all the time?
Because he gets laughs.
He doesn't hate anybody, whatever the colour of the skin or anything else, but he uses it for fun, for a joke.
When white people get together, we can enjoy ourselves, guys.
Ideas and words are very important. They're very powerful. They're lethal. You know, you just need to look at recent events in Europe, Bosnia, Kosovo, look in Africa, what happened in Rwanda, you know, genocide, and you've got a thing now called ethnic cleansing. It's amazing that the people feel that other people are so despicable that you can describe destroying them as cleansing, you know. So, to me, ideas and even ideas that come out of comedy are tremendously powerful, and you've got to be aware of what you're saying.
I'm about as welcome here on this show tonight as a reggae band at a Ku Klux Klan meeting.
I'm not in any way an apologist for Bernard Manning, but I have been in a club when he's been at his most racist, and I've heard and looked round at many black people in there, and certainly lots of Irish people I knew were Irish, were laughing louder than anyone else, and they'd paid to go in.
Ah, there's our coloured sisters there. Didn't see you till you smiled. You're right. Lovely. She's thinking to herself, fuck off, you fat bastard.
As I've always said for the last 50 years, never take a joke seriously. It's a joke. All this political correctness in offices, nobody can laugh anymore than the office workers. You can't pull a girl's leg no more. She can't pull your leg no more. Without, you know, harassment and all this carry on. It's a load of nonsense.
They're unbelievable, them Irish. What do they find about? They're all fucking white. Hey, what they want is a million packies dropping right in the middle of Belfast. Then they know they got fucking problems.
The thing about you is, Bernard, there's no getting away from it. You're a very good comedian, but...
Yes. Nice of you say that.
You are racist, aren't you, Bernard?
Yes.
See, some people I like, some people I don't. Them I like, and them I don't like.
But you upset people, Bernard,
Yes.
with your comedy.
Yes.
Now, what do you think of that?
It don't upset me, it upsets them. I thought this question was going to come up. Are you a racist? Now, my reply should have been, no, I'm not. Lots of my friends are black, or lots of my friends. She says, are you a racist? I said, yes. All of a sudden, she ain't got the answer. That's not what I was supposed to answer. See? I'm not a racist, but I won't. Instead of her winding me up, then the boot was on the other foot. I was winding her up.
Bernard really believed that he'd given her a lambasting, and of course, whether in the editing that was lost, I don't know or not, but I thought it was a bit silly to say the things that he did on that. I don't know why he did it, because he's not that sort of person at all.
Hands up in this audience. Who'd like Bernard more if he wasn't racist?
Me.
Let me just see.
There you
Now,
are.
that's a majority.
And I telephoned him the day after and I said, Bernard, for God's sake, what did you go on that damn programme for? It's perfectly obvious that you were set up. And he was set up. That programme was a disgrace to fair play and tolerance.
Never let them stop you laughing. That's what it's all about.
You're about to hear Bernard Manning as you would never hear him on television, recorded secretly talking about black people.
They actually think they're English because they're born. That means if a dog's born in a stable, it's a horse.
He could be arrested, but this was a party organised by policemen.
Somebody in that audience had a tape recorder. I've got an idea who it was. I won't mention any names. He knows who it is. And he knows I know who it is. He had a tape recorder, and the same man shook my hand and put his arms around me and said how much he enjoyed the show, and sold the tape recorder to Granada and also the story to the News of the World. Got himself a nice £20,000 for it. Good luck to him. Good luck to him.
When the police pull you up, you know, they must caution you. Remember that. They've got to caution you. They say to you, you're not obliged to say anything, but anything you do say will be taken down using evidence. Your next sentence must be, Please don't hit me again, officer. If you're a nigger, again and again and again.
Now, apart from the use of the word nigger is a little unusual on television these days, and I wouldn't exactly condone it, but to me that sounds like a joke about police brutality. He seems to be saying to an audience of policemen, you beat up black people, you don't treat them fairly. Perhaps I'm giving him far too fair a hearing there. Perhaps I should not take that, and perhaps I'm wrong in that analysis. But I've thought about it over a long period, and I'm convinced he's just an iconoclast. He has to upset his audience, whoever they are.
I went to a Muslim strip show the other night, and they're all shouting, show us your fucking face.
He's had a lot of threats over the years from different organisations.
You know why seagulls have wings, my love? To beat the fucking gypsies to the tip.
About 2 years ago, I think he was coming back from a place in Bolton one night, and the police rang me to tell me that they had a serious threat, which they considered to be pretty genuine, of somebody that was going to shoot him that night on his way home from Bolton, and the police actually had his garden staked out. And I actually got a message through to my dad to say, just beware. The police really don't want you going back just yet. They want to keep their eye on the house, and he just took no notice of me. Went straight back within 10 minutes of that phone call, told me where to go, got to the house, and then shouted, come out wherever you are. If you're going to shoot me, do it now. So you're not going to change him. And the police just went, oh, just came out the bushes and got on with it.
I don't take things serious. I'm not bothered. I'm not frightened of dying. I want to die in my sleep, but I'm not frightened of dying. I want to see all my family again. My wife was on a cruise. I wouldn't go away. I hate going away, but I never stopped fear of going away with Bernard. She used to go all over the world. And it was 10 to 8 one night, one Saturday night, and I got a phone call that she was dying with a heart attack. They flew her home in an ambulance. And 10 minutes later, I had to go on stage. How I did it, I'll never know. It was terrible. The day they die, you've got to go on stage because people sold tickets. I'd do it because once I got on, I used to forget everything. But once I come off, but it hit you like a bleeding poleaxe. Terrible. I'm sorry for anybody that's going through bereavement at present or any time in their lives. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible thing. So, you get through, because my mother wouldn't want me to be morose or anything like that, but she'd say, get out there and do it, you know, because you take you back to the days. When we had out.
My mother died 6 years ago. Ever since, once a month at least, he's telephoned me, because he knows I live alone, he's telephoned me to see if I'm all right and that sort of thing. That's Bernard Manning.
People hate him, and they really hate him. But he's such a generous and a kind man.
There's a great entertainer called Alan Randall, a great banjo player, George Formby.
What will you get if you cross George Formby with Eddie Murphy? Oh, you don't know, do you? Turned out nice again, you
He was driving down to Torquay and his car broke down, a terrible rainy day, and he's parked in a lay-by. Who comes past in laugh one but Bernard? So he got out of the car and said, what's the matter, lad? You know, and he said, well, the car's broke down. He said, look, there's a flask of coffee in the Cadillac. Go and get a coffee, I'll have a look at it. Rolled his sleeves up and went like that underneath the bonnet, mended the car, shut the bonnet, and went back in, and Alan said, I'm going to tell the papers about this, and said, don't you dare, you'll ruin my reputation.
We have a saying, a friend in need is a bloody nuisance.
In his private life, and everyone would tell you this, he's a pussycat.
My view is that Manning deliberately put on this hard, tough act because he was in a hard, tough business.
It's fabulous. I love him to death. I'd vote for him, I'd go anywhere if he asked me, because he's given so much back to the people.
I don't want to be too controversial, but often, you know, these show people say, oh, yeah, we'll come and do it for expenses only. Then when you get the expenses bill, you know, it can be 500 quid, 1,000 or whatever. I was saying to the Variety Club that Bernard was very generous, and they said, well, do you know, Cyril, when he comes to do a dinner for deprived children or coaches or whatever it is, he doesn't charge us £1,000. He gives us £1,000.
Bernard was the man when you ring him up, he would say, never cost the National Health a penny in my life. Now, today he's not enjoying good health at all because, you know, he's arthritic, he's got diabetes, and he had a stroke.
Leonard Rossiter didn't drink, didn't smoke, played squash every day, jogged every day, 47 years of age, fucked, dead and buried. You mustn't treat your body like that.
The doctor said, I'd like you to ease up a bit. He said, I know it's like talking to the wall, he said, but I'd like you to ease up. And young Bernard, my son, who I love dearly, took over.
He just said, get on with it, whatever you want to do. He said, get on with what you want to do with the Embassy Club because it's your place now. And funnily enough, even now, he calls it my place. And I can't believe that. You know, he only spoke to me on the phone the other day and said, what's going on at your place this weekend, you know? And I said, I can't relate to that at all.
It's got fitted carpet and toilets and everything now. It's really beautiful now.
But he's still appearing there, you know, and he does one a month for me, and he packs the place out still.
Irish fella bought a chainsaw. He went back after a couple of days. He said, this chainsaw, he said, it's no fucking good to me. He said, you told me you'd cut 60 trees a day down. He says, I'm only doing 40. It's fuck this saw, he said. Something's fucking wrong with it, he said. He said, let's have a look at it. He pulled the string. He went, brrrr. He said, what's that fucking noise?
Manning has survived because he was the best at what he did. All the others, and the city is full of clones of Bernard Manning trying to do his act, but they've never succeeded.
You know what my ambition is? To go live on the Antique Roadshow. I'm saying to some old woman, you know that's worth fuck all. Not a fucking carrot. Now fuck off with it. That live on Sunday night, won't it?
If Bernard were here, I'd say, Bernard, what a waste. You're a very gifted man. What a shame that you can't use all those gifts to just to make us all laugh together.
I don't believe in racialism or religion. I believe that all the Catholics and Jews and Protestants and Methodists should all get together and attack the Pakistan.
She's having a little laugh, because she knows I don't mean it. Anybody with any intelligence that goes to a good school can look at me and say, that is a big, fat, jolly guy, that. He couldn't mean it. He's not a racist.
Don't get the wrong impression of him, because it's only an act. It really is only an act.
When I die, I'd like on the grave, I should have been a sir, but I think it's something I said.
I should care. I should go around weeping. I should care. I should go without sleeping. Strangely enough, I sleep well, except for a dream or two. But then I count my sheep well. Funny how sleep can lull you to sleep. I should care. I should let it upset me. I should care. But it just doesn't get me. Maybe I won't find someone as loving as you, but I should care, and I do. If you ever get downhearted and depressed, remember the words of this very famous man. It's easy enough to be pleasant when the world rolls along like a song, but a man's worthwhile if he can smile when everything's going wrong. Adolf Hitler, 1945.